The National Repertory Orchestra convenes yearly from June through August in the ski resort town of Breckenridge, Colorado. Led by Maestro Carl Topolo, the NRO performs at least 2 concerts per week, including repertoire from a broad range of composers, styles, and periods. The NRO offers a chance for young orchestral musicians to showcase their talents while improving their art.
For me, the most memorable part is the incredibly high artistic level of the NRO. All of the 88 or 89, however many musicians are playing on a particular concert, everyone is of an incredibly high artistic standard, and it's very inspiring to make music in such an environment. Also, the support of the community is so strong and so overwhelming that I feel very comfortable committing myself emotionally and being able to play my best when I have to.
Through the Community Link program, NRO musicians connect with members of the community for dinners and special events.
I'll be playing Sarasate Zagrina Weisen. It's a really fun piece. It's a little gypsy dance. It was something I had played when I was younger, but I wanted to play it again as an adult. And it is definitely much more fun because, you know, I can take liberty wherever I want to. And yeah, it's been a fun process practicing for this.
And I think that the third movement of the harp concerto is a really fun and exciting, like, energy bringer. So I think it'll be enjoyed. Yeah, that'll be really exciting.
Tchaikovsky is a lot of emotion, very similar to Mahler in that way. You know, he kind of he's an open book. He wears his emotions on his sleeves in all the music. And so as a conductor, what's very, very difficult, the most demanding thing about Tchaikovsky is that you kind of have to be that when you're encouraging the musicians to play. It's impossible not to, because that's one of those things about the music that they need to produce. They really need to produce not only the sound but the emotion. They really need to feel why he wrote certain things, you know. And this piece in particular, the Pathétique, which is, you know, about him dying in the end. I mean, really, the heartbeat going away and him, you know, losing his breath. I mean, it's really quite an emotional ride. And I think the challenge as a conductor is to find that and then convey that on the podium, which, you know, leaves me sweating usually at the end of the end of concerts, because it's you as a conductor have to be also just as sort of unbashful about, you know, wearing your emotions on your sleeve. You have to find that, the same as actors do. You know, you have to find that inside of yourself to convey to the musicians.
So I played the Havanaise. It's a great piece. It's really fun to play. Get to do a lot with it. Take a lot of liberties rhythmically and expressively. And working with Tito was just simple. There was not much to it. He was a And I think that's what it's like working with a good conductor, or a great one.
My experience with a children's concert was absolutely exciting and exceptional at the same time, because there are many layers of contacts with other people, not just the regular contact with the public. Then there's the contact with a special kind of public you have to interact with, and the public of kids that was here was absolutely thrilling, because they participated, they were eager to understand, to think. They had weird opinions, and sometimes they were all interesting. And then on top of that, there were two other people collaborating with me, and like a very different kind, like a wonderful little child prodigy, like an 8 years old little girl that was performing Mozart with us. And you can see the exceptionality of that was that you can see in this little thing already very clear musical intentions, and you see how precocious and great talent you can see already behind that little person. On the other side, there was a narrator who is a professional and whose expertise and ability was fun to interact with, but also interesting to learn from. So, like, the experience was really 360-degree experience, interaction between me, public, and me and the orchestra, me and a new talent that will for sure have a great career, and with an already established actor and narrator from whom I could learn and observe interesting things. So it was really exciting.
The musicians advance their skills through mandatory master classes with world-class instrumentalists. The yearly gala in Denver showcases the orchestra for supporters, raising money with a live auction.
I'm very much looking forward to wearing pink, because it's not a color I normally wear. I'm usually like blues, greens, and grays and that kind of thing. But it's all kidding aside. It's an honor and exciting to work with an organization, a really important organization like this. So I'm happy to. It's really nothing on my part to wear the pink tie to show my support. So.
I've been coming to the National Repertory Orchestra performances for many years, and very excited to be able to share my Colorado and Summit County nature photography with the audience here at the National Repertory Orchestra, and to combine two art forms, music and photography, and which I believe makes the whole greater than the sum of the parts.
This is a fantastic experience for a composer, because here at Breckenridge at the NRO, and we're working with the most talented young orchestra players in the land. And especially for my music, I really need that youthful spirit and energy to knock out these rhythms that I'm doing with the scores, and have a lot of skill and technical facility, but really understand rhythm and subdivision and all the other things that American music offers.
John Williams is indeed an American icon, and actually I would say that he's most responsible for bringing the symphony orchestra back into the movie studio. I believe at the time in the 70s that possibly the trend was to use more electronic sounds, etc. But with Williams' unbelievable scores, we're able to not only hear them in the movies, but also present them in concert as being such fine symphonic works. I think an interesting thing is when you're watching the movie, the music is such an integral part of what's happening that you don't really recognize the music as such while you're watching it. You don't say, oh, that's a great theme, or that was really a great moment. But afterwards, when you isolate it, you just see how wonderful the music really is. And I've done an awful lot of his music and have a lot of respect, of course, for what he's done, and I find him, I've only met him once face to face, and it was, needless to say, a great experience just to have an opportunity to meet him. But I've always done a lot of his music, and he has a very distinctive sound, I think, which is easily identified when you hear his music.
NRO also gives back to the community with special outreach performances.
Oh, doing the outreach stuff is something that I've always really enjoyed, and I grew up a superhero fan, so when I heard that it was a superhero theme at the library where we were doing the outreach, that was just, it was almost a little bit too perfect.
There was a group of about probably 7 people there who were like in need of care, and then there was some like parents and people there with them, and then we got to just come and sit with them, and she had a kind of a program for us to do, and so we split off into 4 little groups, and we hung out with them and we played music with them. We gave them instruments like tambourines and little drums and stuff, and then the best part was Stefano. He had his baton, and so he gave it to the guys. We had 2 guys in our group, and they got to conduct us, and they were so pumped about that.
I got assigned a quintet at the beginning of the festival, and we were told we were going to do an outreach at the Silverthorne Outlets. And that being an outdoor kind of concert, I knew there were going to be a lot of people that had probably never heard of the National Repertory Orchestra before. So it was a really golden opportunity for us to publicize ourselves, play some great music.
Playing the 4th of July concert was really fun. It was like an 8 a.m. call to the bus, so that was grueling. And then we had a 10 a.m. concert, but it was all worth it in the end because we played for 4,000 people, and I had people come up to me after, like, so appreciative, saying like, "Thank you so much for playing here, thank you," and it was just amazing, like the response that we got. Everybody was so in love with it, and then we played the same show at 8 p.m. the same night, and it was just as fun. People braved through like all these rain showers just to see us, and you really feel the love here in Breck.
That spring is, in my opinion, the most overtly beautiful, especially the second movement, which is quite sad. But yeah, it's just a really beautiful concerto. It's a short concerto. Yeah.
So I'm going to be performing Summer from the Four Seasons by Vivaldi, and personally, it's my favorite movement, and it's also my favorite season in general. I have a summer birthday, so that too. Yeah, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't done a solo in a while, so it'll be interesting experience going from being in the orchestra to standing in front of the orchestra. So, yeah.
My season is autumn, and the first movement is kind of like the harvest festival, and you can hear from the music the partying and the celebrating, and then the second movement is kind of like they are resting after the partying, and then the third movement is the hunt, and you can hear even the animals running, the guns and the horses, and every part of the hunt. You can hear all those features in the music, and I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm playing Winter from the Four Seasons, and I started preparing it a few weeks. I don't know, I've known Winter for a long time. I played it actually like a string quartet version of all of the seasons, so I was like really familiar with the music, so it was kind of strange to go to the actual solo part rather than playing the first violin part of the quartet version. But yeah, a few weeks before coming here, and ever since I've been here, I've been practicing it a little bit every day.
The program is quite diverse because we have Tchaikovsky
which is very much in the romantic, traditional sense. It's a masterpiece, this Romeo and Juliet overture. And they're really finding that kind of sense of rubato that's very different than what we have in the Shostakovich, for example. The Prokofiev Violin Concerto, where we're showing off one of our very own here, Victor Bayans. He's doing a fantastic job as a soloist, and he comes right from their ranks, and so they look up to him and respect him, and they're doing a great job on that, on the Prokofiev as well. And the Shostakovich, this is just right up their alley because there's so much sardonic sarcasm and wit and humor that's all the way through it, through this Ninth Symphony of Shostakovich, and they're finding all of that. And it's been a great discovery for all of us to find this and these works together.
I'll be playing the Prokofiev First Violin Concerto in D major. I've played it a few times before, but with piano, for auditions, grad school auditions in particular, and juries in my undergrad. But this time I'll be playing it with orchestra for the first time, and I'm really looking forward to it because Prokofiev, for me, is a composer that makes a great use of the colors of the orchestra and the sounds, and so playing a concerto with an actual orchestra as opposed to just a piano accompaniment is going to be much more satisfying because you can hear all those little details that Prokofiev put in. I'm excited.
The Breckenridge community gets an intimate taste of NRO through the free Porch Series concerts.
Well, I'm really excited to play the Vivaldi this year. It's been 10 years since I played this particular concerto, so it'll be a lot of fun. This is like my 10-year anniversary. And it'll be, of course, great to play with the orchestra. It's always fun to play with your peers because it's definitely more intimate than just soloing with the orchestra as a guest. So I'm really excited to play with my colleagues, but in a different, I guess, aspect than just playing in the section.
For me, it was a little bit different because the competition was for the second part, the second cello soloist part. And when you're learning it as a student, you're always learning the first part because there's no real, you're not actually performing it, you're just learning it for the technique. So it was interesting to kind of hear it from a different ear because you're always hearing it in recordings, but it's always together. So just practicing it on its own separately was cool.
I'm going to be playing Alan Shulman's Theme and Variations. It's this great piece that never is played by violists, which is a real shame, but I'm really happy to be playing with it. Working with Stefano has been really great. He's taken a lot of care into the whole process, and I'm really excited to be performing.
He brought me out for the pop show, and I got to meet the fantastic orchestra of young musicians who are better than a lot of older musicians that I know. They're fantastic, and we had rehearsal earlier today, and we're going to do an awful lot of songs. And but I figure if I'm going to come do the show, I might as well do it right. So we're going to do one of the biggest shows I've ever done here tomorrow night.
Guest speakers in various music careers give seminars to enrich the knowledge of the musicians.
Why I keep coming is because I know as a major in performance initially that music can move the very soul of man. And because it has that ability, and that's where I was headed, where I feel most of these orchestra members are headed. It's amazing how much it can do outside of performance, or how performance can be integrated into other things, education and inspiration and healing.
Yeah, actually I did not expect to win this competition at all, because we had a lot of really amazing players in the orchestra, and it's a general competition, so it's not only for cello, but it's for every instrument. And I feel really lucky to win this competition and get a chance to play with the orchestra and stuff. I think it's really amazing that NRO is providing this opportunity for me, so yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
I'm playing the Bartók First Rhapsody for violin. I think it's originally violin and piano, and then was later orchestrated all by Bartók. I did this piece in my undergrad, and I really enjoyed it then, and so it was always sort of in the back of my mind. But for whatever reason, every time I had a recital, it just didn't work out to program it. And so when Mr. Topolo emailed me about doing a solo, that was a piece that he kind of suggested as an example of something that would work. So I immediately was like, yes, I know the First Rhapsody. I really want to play it, please, please, please. So I finally get my wish, and I really didn't expect it to be with orchestra. This is my first time and probably last time ever soloing with orchestra, so that's extra special.
Near the end of the 8-week season, the Breckenridge Music Festival teams up with NRO to put on a joint concert. In their free time, orchestra members can experience the many nearby attractions.
Rafting trip, it was my first time to have experience, and it was kind of scary for the first time, but I really enjoyed. I really liked the mountain, looking at the mountains in the water, and I thought about so many different things while I'm enjoying the nature. The fun thing is the tour guide in the rafting, our boat, he's from Indiana, and he went to the same school as me, so we kind of had like a cool conversation about the IU people, and yeah, I really enjoyed, and although it was kind of tiring at the end, but the water fighting each other to boat was really fun to do.
Well, I mean, I don't really follow professional baseball, but I like sports in general, and I was not going to turn down the opportunity to go to the Rockies game for free. So it was pretty fun. The traffic wasn't great, but the stadium was really nice, and Rockies stomped the Brewers. That was pretty fun. High-scoring game. So we stopped for lunch and got some authentic tacos. It was cool. Had a blast. Brought my wife. Pretty sweet.
So getting to play a concerto with the orchestra is very cool and something that I don't get to do a lot. So it's nice to do that for a change and be able to play with all my friends and everything like that. It's great.
And at least some of the pieces will be new for them. We're doing Brahms too, which is a great, Brahms Second Symphony, a great staple of the repertoire. an extraordinary piece. And the more you do it, the more you study it, the more you play it, the more you realize how rich it is and the hidden wonders inside that piece. So I'm hoping that even those who are playing it for the second or third time are learning something new.
I'm playing the third piano concerto in D minor by Sergei Rachmaninoff. It probably took me a year to learn it. I played it with the Florida State University Symphony Orchestra last year, and so this will be my second performance, and I'm really excited about it.
I go to Rio from Boy from Oz.
When my baby smiles at me, I go to Rio de Janeiro. I'm a salsa fellow. When my baby smiles at me, I do the samba and la bamba. Now I'm not the type of person with the passion and persuasion for dancing or romancing, but I get into the rhythm and my feet follow the